So, a lot of people eat very quote unquote healthily, but also struggle to manage their body weight. There's a couple of reasons for this, and the main one being is that they are still consuming too many calories in order to sort of start losing weight. Now, a lot of healthy foods have been branded as such, and this doesn't take away from the fact that you can still gain fat tissue whilst eating them. So, healthy foods are generally marketed that way because of their density in micronutrients and sort of ignore the calorie value of those foods. So, easy examples of this is people eating things like dates and nuts, all of these foods which are natural and they might be organic or whatever else. And yes, they do hold quite a lot of micronutrients, but they're also relatively high in calories and quite easy to overconsume. Also, part of this is a lot of foods that are branded as healthy or as menu items will be covered in things to make them taste better. So, eating just plain leaves and chicken isn't the most exciting thing in the world and is quite hard to sell on a menu. But if you then cover that same meal in some oil, some sauce with some sugar in it, it starts to taste a lot better. But now it has got a much higher calorie punch. So what it boils down to is still moderating the amount of food that you are eating. Very, very common thing that I have seen with clients that I've worked with is people saying to me, I'm tracking my calories, putting all my food in my diary, and then I have a look at it and sort of correlate it with their body weight, and there seems to be something missing. So I'll sort of probe and say, is there anything that you haven't been tracking that you have been consuming? And it will come to light that they have been snacking on quote unquote a handful of nuts. And this handful of nuts could equate to 100 grams across the day if it's multiple handfuls or a particularly big handful. Now, nuts, yes, they have some micronutrients in them, but 100 grams of them is going to net you around 700 calories-ish. That is more than easy as a way to take you out of your calorie deficit and potentially even into a slight surplus. So even if a food is quote unquote healthy, we still need to be careful of the amount of it that we are eating, especially things like nut butters as well. Super easy to overconsume and can really, really take you outside of your calorie range for the day. Now, with these healthy foods, and in the example that you are somebody who has got a bit of extra body fat that you are trying to lose, and you have gained said body fat through eating healthy foods, are you healthier than somebody who is leaner than you but doesn't eat as much healthy food? The answer to that question is probably not. Seeing as being obese or in a state of chronic hyperadiposity is a comorbidity for just about every health condition you can think of, it doesn't quite offset the micronutrients that you are taking in from food. Now, if you took somebody who was leaner, and we are talking within healthy ranges here, we're not talking about bodybuilders getting on stage, would you probably end up being healthier if you were leaner, consuming the majority of your foods from a whole food diet, as you now have access to more micronutrients? Absolutely. But eating those healthy foods will not overcome that excess body fat, particularly if it's quite a large amount and particularly if you hold on to it for an extended period of time. So to answer this question, should you stop eating healthy food and just swap it out for processed 10-calorie jellies in order to just get as lean as you can? Probably not. But it's definitely worthwhile tracking and taking into account how much of these foods you are eating on a daily basis, as you are probably going over on your calories through over-consuming these quote-unquote healthy foods. Anything which is calorie dense is going to be much, much easier for you to gain excess body fat eating. So as I was saying, track it, make sure you're not over-consuming on it. And then once you have lost the body fat, you can then worry about prioritizing micronutrient intake.